Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Shadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Lalita Sri Vishakha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Namaste Pranas. I welcome all of you for the today's morning program Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we'll be playing the recorded class of His Grace Bhima Prabhu, and the title is Srimad Bhagavatam 5th Canto 11th chapter and text 1. Let me share. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Brahmana Vacha Akovida Kovido Vadavadam Akovida Kovida Vadavadam vadasyato nati vidang vadishta vadasyato nati vidang vadishta nasurayo hi vyavaharamenam nasurayo hi vyavaharamenam tatvavamarṣena saha mananti tatvavamarṣena saha mananti Brahmovacha ako vidako vadam svadam vadasyato nati vidam vadasta nasurayo hi vyavaharamenam tatvavamarṣena saha mananti Brahmovacha ako vidavadavadam vadasyato nati vidam kaparasti nasurayo hi vyavaharam inam tatvavamarṣena saha mananti Brahmovacha ako vidavadavadam vadasyato nati vidam vadasta nasurayo hi vyavaharamenam tatvavamarṣena saha mananti Brahmanovacha ako vidavadavadam vadasyato nati vidam vadasti nasurayo hi vyavaharamenam Brahmanovacha ako vidavadavadam vashabadam varashtastha nasurayo hi vyavaharamenam tatvavamarṣena saha mananti Brahmanovacha ako vidavadavadam vadasyato nati vidam vadasta asurayo hi vyavaharamenam Ladies? Chana? Nakovidavadavadam Vadasyato natividam vadishtaha Nasurayo hi vivaharamenam Brahmano vacha. The Brahmana said, Akovidaha, without having experience. Kovidavadavadam, words used by experienced persons. Vadasi, you are speaking. Ataha, therefore, not atividam, of those who are very experienced. Vadishtaha, the most important. Not surayaha, such intelligent persons. He, indeed, vyavaharam, mundane and social behavior. Enam, this, tattva, of the truth. Anamarsena, fine judgment by intelligence. Saha, with. Amananti, discuss. Translation. The Brahmana, Jadbharat, said, My dear king, although you are not at all experienced, you are trying to speak like a very experienced man. Consequently, you cannot be considered an experienced person. An experienced person does not speak the way you are speaking about the relationship between a master and a servant, or about material pains and pleasures. These are simply external activities. Any advanced, experienced man, considering the absolute truth, does not talk in this way. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Krishna similarly chastised Arjuna. Asochas avasochas tvam pragyavadams chavasashe. While speaking learned words, you are lamenting for what is not worthy of grief. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 11. Similarly, among people in general, 99.9% try to talk like experienced advisors, but they are actually devoid of spiritual knowledge and are therefore like inexperienced children speaking nonsensically. Consequently, their words cannot be given any importance. One has to learn from Krishna or his devotee. If one speaks on the basis of this experience, that is, on the basis of spiritual knowledge, one's words are valuable. At the present moment, the entire world is full of foolish people. Bhagavad Gita describes these people as mudhas. They are trying to rule human society, but because they are devoid of spiritual knowledge, the entire world is in a chaotic condition. To be released from these miserable conditions, one has to become Krishna conscious and take lessons from an exalted personality like Jadbharat, Lord Krishna, and Kapila. That is the only way to solve the problems of material life. So, we see here that In the previous chapter, King Rahugana has expanded on some of the points that Jad Bharat has made. And in return, our response to those comments by King Rahugana, this verse explains that although you are speaking like an experienced person, you're using words like an experienced person. Experienced persons don't talk like that. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Lord Krishna, after Arjuna had spoken, why not to fight? And he put forward different reasons why not to fight. But he was ultimately bewildered. Srila Prabhupada mentions chapter 12, verse 11, where Krishna says, while speaking learned words, you're actually fool number one. Right? So although Lord Krishna and Arjuna are on the platform of friendship, because of Arjuna's bewilderment, Lord Krishna takes the position of the spiritual master. And he explains, first of all, to Arjuna that you don't know anything. So that sets the relationship. The one who is meant to receive knowledge and the one who is giving knowledge. Now here Srila Prabhupada explains that 99.9% of the people, they try to put forth as if they have knowledge and they're instructing. Right? But they're all in the category of fool number one. Because they do not know what is the difference between the soul and the body. They do not understand this difference, this science, as King Rahugana couldn't understand. He was confused. So everyone who's posing themselves to be learned but doesn't have this understanding, and at the same time still trying to put forth knowledge, is actually cheating. And they're fool number one. And Srila Prabhupada says, consequently, their words cannot be given any importance. And whether that's in the big university or college or wherever it is, if this difference between the soul and the body is not understood, if they haven't heard properly, then they can't give any benefit to the persons that they're speaking to. I have a friend. He lives in Philadelphia. He's a psychologist. And we were devotees together in New York City back in the late 70s, early 80s. Right? So later on, this devotee went back to college, finished his degree, and then went to get a degree in psychology. He has a doctorate in psychology. He's a psychologist. And while he was finishing his degree in psychology to become a psychologist, he was explaining to me that he sits in the classes and he hears what they're saying, but they say so much nonsense. But still he had to learn it in order to become a psychologist, in order to get his degree. So this is a situation. They may be speaking so many, what they say, 50-cent words. Right? A big long word, right? And it sounds, wow, that's a very, if they would say in the place where I come from in St. Louis, Missouri, that's a highfalutin word, right? But it has no meaning. It has no value. It can't really benefit anyone, right? The Krishna consciousness movement is based on the instructions of Bhagavad Gita that have come to us through the system of parampara. So this can actually benefit us from persons who have actual experience. That experience is based on the teachings of Krishna. But those persons who don't have this experience, unfortunately, they're in charge. They're ruling the world. And they're making a bigger and bigger chaotic situation in every field, right? Whether it's medicine or whether it's economics, they're just making a bigger and deeper mess. Look at it. Anywhere you see the economic situation of the world, it's based on greed. It's not based on any real principles. Right? Previously, the economic situation of the world was based on what could be produced from the land. When the British came to India, they saw that it was a very rich country. Right? Why? Because it had great agricultural production. People were living off the land. They were actually using what they grew. Everything they grew, they used. Everything. Right? And they had cows. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Krishna book that previously the value of a person's wealth was whether they had grains and cows. Right? So nowadays, the value of a person's wealth is some imaginary thing. Paper money, printed money. Prabhupada said, what is the value of your printed money? Right? When they first started printed money, it was backed up by gold. Right? They give you a note, right? But there was some gold somewhere that the government had that vouched for the value of that paper money. Is it like that today? No. It's just printed. That's how. Previously, there was a barter system. If you gave something, you got something in return of value. Right? Just like Lord Krishna. He heard the Phalwali, the fruit vendor, calling, please come and take fruits. So Lord Krishna, even though he was just a small baby, he asked his mother for something to trade for the fruits. So she filled his hands up with grains. And he went from the house, he went to the fruit vendor, and he gave her whatever grains that he had. The grains were falling from his hand. And the fruit vendor, seeing the beauty of Lord Krishna, she filled up his hands with as many fruits as he could hold. Right? That's called the barter system. You give something of value, you receive something of value. And when the fruit vendor turned and saw her basket had become filled with valuable jewels. Right? Due to that exchange with Lord Krishna, she became benefited by even more. But today the system is not like that. You give something of no value, paper, and that's what is exchanged. It's all such a fragile thing. But it has to be based on something. Right? And in this age, what it's based on is not yellow gold, but black gold. You know what black gold is? Oil. It's based on oil. But unfortunately, that oil is running out. It doesn't last forever. And so then what? Well, hopefully there'll be an opportunity for people to get back to the real standard, the real economic standard, and that is what can be produced from the land. People were meant to be independent. And previously, most people were independently employed because they had land. And they grew things that they used. They grew whatever they needed. Because whatever we actually need comes from the land. What actually we need comes from the land. Srila Prabhupada said there's nothing in the factory that they can make that we can eat. You can't eat nuts and bolts. Right? And that's what the factory produces. So a proper economic system is based on real principles. And they may talk so many nonsense things, hours and hours they can go on and lecture about economic principles. What the foreign exchange rates are, what the interest rates should be and how they should fluctuate. All manipulation. And ultimately, what is it? Every time we see on a regular basis, there's a financial ruin called a depression. It happens every time. But the people are so foolish that they accept that, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. Because things work in cycles. So periodically, there's a depression, or what they call an economic recession. It's supposed to work like that. But what that means is that the people at the top are cheating so much that they suck out all the money from the system, and then the system collapses. That's what it is. It's when the persons that are manipulating things become too greedy, then there's an economic collapse. And the people are so foolish they accept that, well, that's the way it's supposed to be because things work in cycles. So the point I'm trying to make is that persons who pose themselves as having knowledge or understanding things or being experienced, they aren't actually experienced. They don't actually have knowledge. Only those persons who have heard from the proper source, who have applied their intelligence to understand this science of the difference between the soul and the body, they can actually give knowledge. Right? So Srila Prabhupada mentions, to be released from these miserable conditions, one has to become Krishna conscious and take lessons from an exalted personality like Jad Bharat. That's the value of the Krishna consciousness movement. Srila Prabhupada released us from such terrible conditions. And he gave us a plan on every field, cultural plan, economic plan. Every field He gave us. Of course, we may not be so expert at applying what He gave us, but at least everyone can chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Srila Prabhupada had a very large vision. He wasn't content to chant Hare Krishna, although he was very well situated and happy and peaceful, living in Vrindavan and Radha Mandir, viewing the samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami. He was perfectly situated. 70 years old, there was no need for him to go anywhere. But yet he had a vision. He had a plan. He wasn't satisfied to simply be Krishna conscious on his own. He wanted others to also become Krishna conscious. And so with great difficulty and great trouble, he went across the ocean and attempted to get some people to chant the holy name of Krishna. And he was successful. He said he was successful beyond his dreams in many ways. So he's given a blueprint how to make the whole world happy. But for us, that begins with applying what he has given us in our own lives. Srila Prabhupada was interested to make some first-class men. I remember when he came to Chicago in the year 1975, there was an article in Time magazine that he saw in the airplane. And the title of the Time magazine was Crime, Why and What to Do. So Srila Prabhupada, when he came to Chicago, he met with the police chief of Evanston, Illinois. That's where the temple was. And Srila Prabhupada was explaining why there is crime and what to do, how to stop the crime. Srila Prabhupada told him, you give us facility and we'll stop all the crime in Chicago. By making some first-class men. The world is in a chaotic condition. It's like a body without a head. There may be arms, legs, belly, but there's no head to society. Right? What is the function of the head? The head also has all the sensory perceptions. It can see, it can hear, right? So the head guides the body. Is it not? The head communicates through speaking. What is a body without a head? Right? But that's the social body is like that today. Right? There's no head. So on an emergency basis, Srila Prabhupada was trying to make at least some first-class men. It means some Brahminical persons. Right? That could guide society, that could help society, that could communicate properly, instead of just speaking nonsense. Right? People, all they hear all day long, morning to night, is nonsense. They get in their car and go to work, turn on the radio. What do they hear? Nonsense. All day long in work, what do they hear? Right? Unmentionable prajalpa. Right? When they get back from work, turn on the TV, what do they hear? Nonsense. Or if they turn off the TV, they got to listen to their wife. And that's not good. Most of them. Buy me this, buy me that. Why didn't you get this? We should have done that. So, where did they ever hear the absolute truth? Right? Where do they get an opportunity to listen to the science of self-realization and become peaceful and satisfied and properly situated? It's natural for us to want to hear. Right? When King Rahugana was thinking this idiot is not carrying the palanquin correctly, he started to blaspheme him. You fool, you rascal. Right? But as soon as Jad Bharat spoke, as soon as he began to speak, immediately the king's mentality completely changed. He could understand by his speech that this is not an ordinary laborer. Right? Of course, the king had some spiritual inclination. He had some pious credits accrued, and therefore he could understand a little bit about Jad Bharat's situation. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, people are so misdirected and misguided, they can't even understand, even when they hear a saintly person. What King Rahugana did. So this is how you judge a person. It's stated that a well-dressed fool is undiscovered until he opens his mouth. So it behooves us to try to understand the science of Krishna consciousness, and for the benefit of everyone that we come in contact with, try to explain that. We don't need to go here and there and read a lot of different books. Right? Srila Prabhupada said, just by reading the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, right? Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Charitamrita, everything is there for your own self-realization and for benefiting others properly. It's complete in itself. Sometimes we see devotees haven't understood Bhagavad Gita, they haven't understood Srimad Bhagavatam, and they want to read the Rasika Shastras, Govinda Lilamrita. Right? What you'll understand Govinda Lilamrita? First of all, we have to understand, I'm not this body. I'm spirit soul. You try to read these other things and you'll only make an offense. We're not qualified. So we should understand properly the basics of Krishna consciousness. We should chant sincerely the holy name of Krishna and try to benefit other people. The world is definitely not headed in the right direction. There's going to be extreme chaos. That's the nature of Kali Yuga. You know, they say if you think things are bad, just wait, they're going to get worse. It's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. Right? And devotees of the Lord are going to have to work together cooperatively to be able to face the challenges in the future. You know, people in India, they kind of live in a dream world, in a fantasy world. They watch too many Bollywood movies where everything is bubbly. You hear that? That's an air raid siren. It goes off at 9 o'clock in case there's bombs that are dropped. But where's the bombs? Who's dropping bombs? Why do we need an air raid siren? You hear it? Well, I want you to know that Pakistan has enough bombs to blow up every city in India. One bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, and that bomb was powerful enough to kill 200,000 people in 2 minutes. Pakistan has bombs that are, every one of them, tens and tens of times more powerful than the bomb that was dropped in Hiroshima. If one of those bombs was dropped, say, in Dadar, everything up to Kalaba would be flat, and everything up to Mir Road would be flat. But yet everybody's in the Bollywood movie. Param param yad viparam nate sham. We're living in a very dangerous situation. Right? And we haven't completed our Krishna consciousness. And 99% of the people haven't even started their Krishna consciousness. So it behooves us to become serious about this Krishna consciousness movement, because it's the only thing that can save humanity from the destruction, total destruction. There's a Krishna consciousness movement. Understanding the difference between the soul and matter, as explained by Jad Bharat to Maharaj Rahugana. This is knowledge. We should try to understand this knowledge and impart this knowledge to others. This will be good for us, and it'll be good for others. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for being attentive. Like, just to summarize whatever I could note down. And I hear the way Jadabharat chastised King Rahugana. So Krishna also chastised Arjuna that like you are the fool number one. And even though both are on the same friendship platform, but Arjuna got bewildered, and then he did not have like he was speaking like knowledgeable person, but Krishna told like you are the fool number one. And this is the same case like in the current world, where 99.9% of the people are fools, as they don't understand the difference between the soul and the body. They don't have spiritual science, so their words cannot have any significance, whether they are from the big universities or colleges or whatever they are from. And how the Prabhu or Bhima Prabhu told that his friend, there was a psychologist, when he was attending the classes, then the teachers were talking so much of nonsense, but he had to listen because he was a student and he wanted to become the psychologist. So that's how the like everybody thinks that okay, they are knowledgeable. And Krishna consciousness is based on instructions of Bhagavad Gita, and that is coming in the line of parampara. And people who don't have spiritual knowledge, they are creating the mess. So Prabhu started talking about the economy. So how the economy is based on the greed, and the previously the economy is to be based on the products that are produced from the land, which are necessary, and also the exchange of the products, trading of things are based on the values, the things that have values. Then Prabhu talked about how Krishna traded the grains with the fruit vendor for getting the fruits. Then so the here the grains have the value and the fruits have the value, and both are getting exchanged. But in the current world, money does not have any value. It's just the printing. But and initially when the money printing started, it was backed with the gold, and now that is not the case. So just the printing of money, whatever it has, and it does not have any value. And now the exchange is just based with paper, which does not have value. So whatever we actually need comes from the land. So then Prabhu started talking about how the everything is manipulated, like interest rates, exchange rates, everything is manipulated. Then how the this recession is coming and what is the recession and all those things. So Prabhu talked. Then persons who pose themselves as knowledgeable, so they don't have the actual knowledge. So that's where, in this context, Prabhu talked about this economy. And Srila Prabhupada mentions that one should become Krishna conscious to get liberated from the material miseries. And we need to hear from the Guru like Jadavaratha. And Srila Prabhupada had very large mission. Even though like he was contented with the being in the Vrindavan, and he was perfectly situated. Still, he want to liberate others. He want to give the Krishna consciousness to the others. So that is the reason he got great difficulty to cross over the oceans, and then uh, started giving the knowledge to the whole world. And he has the perfect blueprint how to make the whole world happy. So they're like Prabhu talked about how the he discussed with the some police guy in the US how to reduce the crime, and he told like give us the facility, we'll make uh, the I mean society free of crime. How? That is by giving the Krishna conscious knowledge, and also and then Prabhupada said that the current society is without head. So Prabhupada wanted to create the Brahmins who are like head of the society. And then Prabhu talked about how the world is behind the Prajalpa, that is unending Prajalpa, like it is always just that. And in Kali Yuga, people are misdirected and they don't understand even if they are given the spiritual knowledge. So in this context, like Prabhu talked said about King Raghunatha, he could understand that because he has the some price credits, so he could understand that okay, Jarbharta is a great person, but this is the world where people don't understand even these things, and try to Prabhu told that okay, as I mean instruction to us, try to explain the spiritual science whoever we come in contact with. Then first we need to understand that we are not the body, we are spirit soul. So this is the basics of the Krishna consciousness movement. And Prabhu told that even 99% of people don't understand this. Chant, Prabhu told about chant the names of Hare Krishna, and this is the thing. And then Prabhu talked about how the dangerous the world that we are living in. So the Prabhu gave the story of this Hiroshima bomb that killed the 2 lakh people or 200,000 people in 2 minutes, and the current bombs are more powerful than that, so much powerful than that. So this is the dangerous world that we are living in. So we need to understand the importance of this life, understand the basics of Krishna consciousness, like we are not the body, we are the spirit, pure spirit soul, and then practice sincerely. So those are the instructions. So any other devotees wants to add up? Hare Krishna. So Bhima Prabhu is the disciple of His Divine Grace Abhay Channa Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and he leads the Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust. Hare Krishna. Anybody else wants to add up anything? Lines are already unmuted. Okay, we can end the class here with Vaishnava Pranama. Pancha kalpa tarubhesha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Ananta Guru Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Bhima Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. Now I'm ending the class. So tomorrow again we'll meet at 7:15. Hare Krishna. Now ending the